Good morning and welcome everyone to another webinar, Raising Your Vibrations. And this time we are speaking with the gorgeous Hayley Devrell, who has been really looking into silver, numismatic coins and protecting wealth and your basically getting an insurance policy against what's going on at the moment. I'm very excited to have Hayley here today. So I will pass over to Hayley for her to give a little bit of an introduction into who she is and what her background is and how she got to this point in her life. Hi, Hayley.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. Well, how did I get to this point in my life? I've been in the online space since 2013. So I have a beautiful network of people around me that think outside the box, very entrepreneurial. And in 2020, I was like most people, I started learning a lot of what was going on in the world, I guess. And, I was thrown into the precious metals market and, having 3 kids of my own and another one on the way. I still haven't put that post on Facebook, actually. I pulled my kids out of school last year. And what I was learning, I was thinking, as a mum, I need to protect my children, right? So I started learning about wealth cycles and, started buying gold and silver myself and kind of just went down that path of learning, learning about the governments, the banking system, all those sorts of things. And, it's been a little bit over 2 years since I started to do that. And I feel like there's still so much to learn. So for me now moving forward, I'll let you, I could ramble on about this for ages, Taryn. So just pop in when you need to.
No. I know what I was doing is while you were talking, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, maybe I could share this as a live straight into my Facebook group. So I thought, let me try do that. And then I'm like, oh, I don't really know how to do that.
I don't know how to do that either.
That was that look on my face to do the 2 things at once. So as a mum, you have gone and you're looking to feeling safe for you and for your family. And so you've been doing all these hours of research, and the more you discover, the more confidence you get in moving forward and doing something that is going to protect your wealth and protect your family's future.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's that realization that, for me, I just turned 38, 2 years ago I was 36. It was, everything that I was brought up to believe, put your money in the banks, it's safe, just all these things. It was the realization that there was so much more that we didn't know. And just really, I've just been on a mission to, I guess, help other people, ask those questions for themselves to protect themselves, because, I never like to do the I told you so, but the last 2 years people have, like, let's face it, they've been distracted by, job security, all the COVID stuff, and I actually put up a post yesterday about silver, and I said, guys, I've been talking about this for 2 years, because life gets in the way, right? 2 years has gone and my inbox is flooded at the moment, just so busy, because people are going, wow, you've actually been talking about that for 2 years and like I haven't taken action. So,
So in terms of that post that you put up yesterday, for people who haven't seen the post, what did that post say?
Yeah, so there's a coin, I can't remember the exact coin that it was called now. I'll have to, that's baby brain kicking in. But there's a coin that they create in the US that has been cancelled because they actually can't source enough silver to create the coin. And so my understanding, this coin's been around, I put my phone on airplane mode, so I'm smart, so no one would ring me while I'm on the call. And so just the fact that they can't get the silver, the supply and demand, it has increased so much that they've had to cancel that coin.
So for people who've never sort of really looked into gold and silver, they're probably sitting there right now and wondering, well, why all of a sudden have we run out of silver? How did that happen? I thought silver was cheap and I thought silver was readily available. What is the driving force to suddenly run out of silver and not be able to print that coin? What's happened?
I think people are starting to really educate themselves first and foremost, because this is, at the foundation of everything. that someone that I was following online 2 years ago said, just whatever you do, just keep educating yourself. Just keep educating yourself. And people have been learning about, fiat currency and our economy and what is happening. And, my understanding is, when there's a market crash, the money doesn't disappear. Okay, it's transferred into things that are solid. And so people have been realizing this, and they're transferring their wealth into gold and silver and, assets, land, all those things. And so, it's the ones that are switched on to this that will come out on top. So yeah, it's the supply and demand, huge. And even silver, if you have a look at the demand moving forward in technology and phones and things like that, it's going to be huge. So
at the moment we're kind of, watching World War III roll out. And at the end of World War II was when, everyone's currency was absolutely devalued. And that was when all the countries sort of got together and they decided to tie their currency in with the US dollar. And then they decided to then back it by gold. And that was, things were stable when it was backed by gold. And then in 1971, we had Nixon take it off the gold standard. And so what's happening now is we're watching Russia, Putin backing his money again. He's attaching his currency to gold. And I think, India's doing the same. So, you can see that if other countries are starting to back their currencies with precious metals again, you can kind of get a little glimpse into, if they're doing that, why there's suddenly this demand. People are waking up to realizing that the money that we are using every day to spend on things, that actually isn't backed by anything besides a promise from your government that it's worth that. Yeah. So we have kind of come along a long way in the last 2 years to understand that our government's promises might not be as rock solid as we would like them to be. Yeah. And in that process, we are looking at ways in which to ensure that whatever wealth we've built within our fiat currency is not eroded away. But like Hayley said, it doesn't disappear, it goes somewhere else. So it's like someone has taken the plug out of the drain. You've got your bathtub filled with your fiat currency. Someone's pulled the plug out of it and all that water's draining and they're going to get it somewhere else. It doesn't disappear, it goes somewhere else. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I had a friend of mine share a video this morning and tag me. Did you know that they had the World Government Summit in Dubai, I think this past week. And I mean, I didn't even know that we had the World Government Summit. I mean, just think about that. I've shared it on my Facebook page. I'll share it with you after here if you want to share it with your community. But they continue to talk about the New World Order and how they're going to abandon the traditional money system. And this is on video, and into a digital system that is less private than crypto. So, this is on video. The world leaders are talking about this. They do not want us to know about this first.
And Rhonda's brought up a really interesting aspect in the chat box. We need to start looking at what are the richest people in the world currently doing. And they are taking their money and they're transferring it and putting it into precious metals. In fact, if you start having a look at what the banks are doing, they're also doing the same. So if the banks are doing that and the richest people are doing that, we need to pay attention and go, well, what's going on and why aren't we doing that? Because they must know what's happening next. So what they're doing is they're developing their own insurance policy against a drop in the value of that fiat currency. So Rhonda, if people are wondering about, okay, I've got some money in the bank and I'm now starting to feel a little bit unsafe, that, what happened in Greece when they came in and people were trying to get money out of the bank one day because overnight their government closed their bank account and then used all their money and people couldn't access their own money. So sort of leaving your money in a bank as a fiat currency, or sort of saying that's not such a great idea. There are other ways to ensure that you don't lose out. You are suggesting precious metals.
Yeah,
One of the
absolutely.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would be the first sort of, and why precious metals? What does precious metals mean to the ordinary person that has no idea, has never heard of the word, put your money into precious metals? Does it mean going and buying it on the share market?
No, we don't want to do that. What people don't realize is it's sound money. Gold and silver is real money. And, I have people come to me all the time and go, look, I don't have the money to invest. Right. And I'm like, well, how about we look at it in a way where it's not about investing. You're just transitioning, you're declining fiat currency into sound money. It's very simple. And we just really need to educate people on gold and silver and what it means and what it can do for them. And people come to me every single day saying, Hayley, I feel silly. I don't know how to buy gold and silver. And I go, what? We haven't been taught this. Why haven't we been taught this? Because
none
we
of
were
us
taught
know how to do it. Even if
No.
you go and Google it, you don't really find a way to do it that's easily and efficient. And you also don't know how to do it with staying within capacity where you're not being reported to government agencies and things like that, which we will address in this conversation later.
That's right.
But yes, there is no information. We have not been taught this in school, how to protect ourselves.
No, but they did teach us in schools to open up a Dolomites account and put our money in the banks, didn't they? Someone said that to me last year and I was like, yes, I remember the little Dolomites account. So, people do look online and they do look at what to buy. And, there's bars, there's coins, there's all these sorts of things. People that come to me, they go, I'm just overwhelmed. I don't actually know what to buy. And then it's also a question of, if you are buying online and you're handing over this money, that's usually quite substantial, can I trust them? It's very foreign to people. And that's why I've just been really trying to, and our community, which is amazing, have really been just trying to, I guess, rip that Band-Aid off, handhold, people's hands and walk them through it. Because I think once you've done it, it is so empowering. And then, it's just, and then get in a habit of doing it. Because, as I said, earlier, I've been talking about this for 2 years and people keep popping up in my inbox now and then and going, oh, you're still, still buying gold and silver and you're still doing this thing. And I'm like, you were telling me that you're just going to go to the mint and buy some. Have you bought any? They're like, oh, no, I haven't. Like, I can't believe it's been so long. I've been caught up, so life gets in the way. But the banks made it so easy for us to transact with each other and put our money in. And it's very difficult, I think, for people to get out of that system that they've got us so comfortable in and then to transition into something else.
So you just mentioned then something, and there's sort of about the mint. And so there, that is for your first step. That used to be a great first step for people to go, because you could get from the post office, and it was under the category where they didn't have to report you or take your identification. But something has recently come up that kind of made me a little bit uneasy about. I was giving those Perth Mint coins to my nieces and nephews as gifts, but something recently came up about having something with the Queen's head on the back of it. So I'm sitting here and I wear like a sovereign, and on the back of that, I've got the Queen's head on the back. Why are we saying now, actually, do not go that option? Why would we say we're looking at something else to protect ourselves?
Yeah, so I have to deep dive into that one. It keeps coming into my inbox lately about the Queen's head. I don't know, I think, Rhonda, you've kind of gone into this a little bit, but because it's got the Queen's head on it, they can come and, they own it basically. Is that correct, Rhonda?
I'll hand over to my husband because he's all over this.
Okay, thank you.
This is his baby. He loves this. Is that okay, Taryn? Do you mind?
I am so thrilled that Steve is making an appearance. Hi, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
Do you want to tell us about the Queen's head and why instead of going through the Perth Mint, why we're looking at other options instead?
Yeah, sure. So the Queen's Head is actually on bullion coins, silver and gold, and is actually classed as legal tender within Australia. So it's classed as like a normal $50 note, so to speak. The government have the ability to recall any of the currency that is in circulation at any time. So a lot of people don't understand that. So if it's classed as a currency with the Queen's Head on it, makes it a currency, it can be recalled, which means you lose your investment.
What have you got there, Hayley? Hayley's on mute, so she can't. Yeah.
So this is just some coins that I have.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got the Queen's Head on it. These are the Britannia 2021 coins, and this is just a Marlin coin that's got the Queen heads on it. Yeah, I've got heaps of coins that have got the Queen's Head on it. Personally, I try now moving forward, for a while, I just don't buy them. They say buy the ones that you like, and I don't like the ones with the Queen's Head on them, basically. So
thank you so much, Steve, and please don't go away, because if we want as much input into this webinar as everyone can do, because I want to support people and know that they feel safe to move forward, and the more support we can give them means equipping them with knowledge, insight, and understanding. So just when Hayley showed us those coins, there is a reason why that coin is in that little box. And those coins, Hayley, considered numismatic coins? And if they are, can you please explain what a numismatic coin is?
No, so these ones are just a case that I've just got cases that I've purchased just to keep it in a good condition. So, but then I've got these, for example, that is a numismatic coin. So this coin is a mint state condition. It's an MS70, which is the highest grade that you can get. They look at this under 5 times microscope. So and I mean, they create so many coins in the world, but only a certain percentage actually go off to be certified. So this is the exact same coin. It's a silver eagle, but it hasn't been certified.
Okay, so what is the difference then if someone is looking at that? They're like, well, that means nothing to them if they've never done this before. Why would they go and purchase something in that square box with a guaranteed percentage of purity and a guaranteed barcode to say that it's been externally identified and verified? Why pay for that one and not just go and get that one? Or can you do both?
You can do both. You can, this is, you're going to pay per ounce price for this. Definitely much cheaper, but it depends, it's having a strategy and it's diversifying in the precious metals market. And this is what I didn't understand 2 years ago when I first started buying. I was just going and buying bullion. And when I found out about, these pretty numismatic coins and collector coins, I didn't understand it. And I personally wasn't interested. I thought the fact that I had gold and silver was enough. So, I like to, I geek out at, now that I'm in this industry, the NGC website, who grades the coins, they've got some really, really great resources that I like to share with people. If I go and have a look at the price guide of 1 ounce silver eagles over time, since they've been creating them, having a mint state coin, like for example, I think there was like a 1990 coin, which, really wasn't that long ago, is worth $4,000 today. Whereas MS69 is just, it's not as, an MS70 is mint state. So an MS69, might have a few little blemishes on it. It's not quite perfect. And, it might be worth $100. So huge comparison in between, having a mint state coin to a lower grade. So, not having this graded and encapsulated and protected, it will devalue over time. It will still be worth the weight in silver, whatever silver is worth at the time when or if I personally don't plan on selling. It's more of a long-term strategy for me. I hope we don't have to sell it anytime soon, but I think my kids might need this more than I do, so
that's bringing an interesting aspect when you talk about your kids, because a lot of people are looking at purchasing silver or precious metals so that they can actually transfer their wealth to their children, because we don't know what's going to happen down the track in terms of taxes on leaving some of your estate to your children. So this is a way of ensuring that the money that you've earned and worked for in this lifetime is passed down to your children without other people getting their grubby mitts on it.
Absolutely.
You can just pass a coin to someone, it's safe.
I was actually talking to a financial advisor, friend of mine recently, and he, helps people set up trusts and everything like that. And he said, you would be amazed at, the information we get, if someone passes with their wills, that, it's a detailed maps and everything. Like, you have to go and knock down this wall, there's cash and silver, and it's like a little treasure map. You need to go to this part in the backyard and you need to dig up the silver. So this has been happening for a long time. People have been keeping cash in their mattresses, but I think they've realized a lot of people are doing that. And hopefully these people are transitioning some of their cash over into gold and silver, otherwise it might be worthless soon.
Well, we're sitting, my father-in-law is 89, and so we're kind of in that space where we're about to discover what happens next. Would you in this situation be suggesting that he uses his money and purchases numismatic coins or silver to protect it?
Yeah, well, look, obviously not financial advice, not financial advice, but I would definitely speak to someone who's like-minded and get him a strategy, and put a portion of it into gold and silver. Maybe he wants to put some into land, or depending on what it is. But one of my friends said to me last year, which I love, she's like, I don't know, we don't have a crystal ball, but we need to diversify. And she's like, I want to have all my eggs in all the baskets, just in case. Like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But something that I feel like is coming through for me is that gold and silver has been here for a really long time, and it feels safe. There's a lot of people dabbling in the crypto market. And that's a way. But if we lose the internet or we lose power, those sorts of things, how do we get access?
That is something that I got a little bit excited about, because I've gotten into a crypto bot, which is going to be trading, and the expected returns are going to be fairly high. One of the advantages about having a sound money wallet means that I can take the profits I'm making in crypto and I can transfer them over to the sound money wallet. From that space, from what I understand from Rhonda, I can then purchase my precious metals with it, or I can then convert it into a usable form of fiat.
It's perfect. And I love that, because there is a lot of money to be made in the crypto space right now. But yeah, I think it's smart to move a portion of that into something that, like gold and silver, that holds value, because they could drive crypto, it's a reality. They could drive crypto to zero tomorrow. I would hope that wouldn't happen. It is supply and demand, like gold and silver. Price, they say Bitcoin's the people's money, but it's all highly manipulated, even the price of gold and silver, and that's what concerns me. So crypto, even though I've been dabbling in crypto since 2017, so it's not new to me, but I think people like having what they can hold with all the uncertainty with what's happening right now. Having this in your hand is important. We're not buying gold and silver, we're not buying paper derivatives on the stock market. Like, if people actually wanted to get that, there's not enough product for people to actually get that. They're overselling it. So, you know, even I even know people that have had gold and silver at Perth Mint. We had an experience with a friend who, you know, he said, why would I get into, you know, the coins and, you know, 7K metals and things like that? He's like, I've got $10,000 of silver at Perth Mint. And it was really funny. We were like, well, maybe you should just get it allocated and get it, you know, get it in your hand so you feel safe. And he rang Perth Mint and they said, that's going to cost you $600 to get the silver fabricated. It's going to be $60 a bar. And he's like, well, hang on, that's my silver. I've paid you $10,000. You've got my silver there. And that's what people don't realize. If they actually want the physical product, then often it's not there. They then go into waiting times for them to have it fabricated. So, you know, what we're very much getting into is we pay for a finished product and have it, you know, with what's happening. And we want to get it to us as quick as we can. We don't want to wait for it to be fabricated. So
Hayley, what about, you know, friends of mine, you know, we talk about silver stacking. So we've got the option for silver stacking to do it in the silver coins, which we can probably come into the marketplace and get immediately and cheaper than the numismatic coin. But what about friends who've gone into it and they've decided, right, I'm just going to buy it in Australia. They've ordered over $5,000 worth because there's a mark there. What is actually happening? Can you lead me through the process if someone has done this through Australia and they've ordered a bar of silver?
Yeah, I've had some friends that have just transitioned it over. You know, they'll go and sell it and then, you know, repurchase things. But it just depends on, I guess, how cautious you wanting to be. And, you know, I know there's a lot of places where you can pay cash under $5,000 and, you know, they don't ask for your ID. So that's kind of what we've done. If you want to go,
if you're purchasing and you have to show your ID, like I went on to Ainsley Silver and I've had to put in my ID, even though it was under 5,000. Once
really, okay, I haven't ordered through them, so
once you've got in under 5,000, they've still got your details of what you're doing as a trade. So there's a huge. Once the government has, is it that correct? The government can actually ask for access for all that information.
Yes.
So what you're doing and how you're spending your wealth is transparent to the government, and therefore when it's transparent to the government and they want to make a recall on anything, they'll be knocking on. They have the potential to knock on your door. So the purpose and the behind 7K is to now go where? Overseas.
Yeah, and this is why I love 7K metals, because ultimately 2 years ago when I was sharing, you know, the idea that it was, you know, you should be buying gold and silver, I was helping people buy bullion and I was holding people's hands and going through that. And then once I found 7K, I'm like, oh, I was helping people do the wrong thing. You know, I mean, not saying, you know, it's hugely the wrong thing, but you know, once I got into,
there's a smarter way to do it.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to do it. More strategic, yes. That benefit us, you know. So the buyer certification in 7K, I absolutely love that. I have people coming to me all the time wanting to move big amounts of money, and I am directing them to the training that 7K metals have. I'm like, it's a buyer certification. It's an hour course, 3 20-minute videos. It'll give you you know, why you're buying it, what to buy, what's reportable, what's not reportable. Have a game plan before you start freaking out and throwing money into the market, because this is what a lot of people are doing. And you don't want to, you know, impulse buy, do you? You know, even when us women are at the shops, we really should go, do I really need that? You know, walk away and think about it. So I've been telling people to just educate themselves, have a strategy, because when I went through and I did that buyer certification, even though it's a suggestion from them, they said 10% bullion in your portfolio. And I was like, oh, okay. So my strategy's changed since then. And, you know, they talk about this in the training that, you know, a lot of these coins have come out since they decided what was reportable. So this is why a lot of the coins and things are not reportable, because they say until our governments go back and decide and actually can agree on something, they're not reportable. So they go under the radar. So when we order them from 7K, because they're a not reportable item, they don't have to report them. And that sits fine with me.
Yes, which should sit fine with all of our audience, is that, that's your money. You can spend it any which way you want. And you should not have someone else having a look at what you're doing and then deciding that they want access to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we all work hard. We work hard. We should, we shouldn't be dictated what we can and can't do with our money. And this is clearly what they're wanting to do. What Russia's just done is huge. It's interesting that I've been talking about this for 2 years, and a lot of us, on this call, have been looking into this for a while. I didn't think I'd see it this soon, if I'm quite honest. I didn't think I'd see it this soon, but it is happening. And a friend of mine, I have to dive into it after this call. He's looking at moving some money into gold and silver. And he said, since Russia has gone back to the gold standard, they've actually, the gold market index has been closed and it's been pegged. So it's not moving. And I'm like, oh, I haven't even had a chance, because I've been so busy helping people, haven't even had a chance to look at that side of it. And I'm like, thank you. And, he's given me his feedback on it. I'm like, I need to look into that. And he goes, well, it's good that it's, the market's not going to fall. But yeah, and he, I'll have to send it to you. He had all different views on it. But it's, they're going to keep the price low, obviously, for themselves as well, so they can start buying up. This is what they do. They do it with Bitcoin too. They crash the market because big institutions, they want to buy Bitcoin at 30,000, not 60,000, and they do the same with gold and silver. So
Stephen, do you have anything to add in this regard?
I think Hayley's pretty well covered it all. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see what's happening with Russia. It's taking the control of the world's currency away from the US dollar. If it goes through, that would mean that the other currencies that are based on or backed on the US dollar will follow suit, and they'll crash as well. Having an investment in gold and silver is hedging against that possibility.
Thank you. That's I've also got another sort of question in here that I'm just going to refer to. It says, if we can show collectors that if we can show that we are collectors of numismatic coins, they do not see us as hoarding. So Hayley, what does that mean?
Oh, can you just say that again to me? They don't see it as...
maybe. Stephen, do you want to answer this one?
It's just another way of getting the gold and silver in your possession without getting any attention from governments or any outside. So you're seen as, you're just a collector. You're not someone that's stacking serious amounts of gold and silver away. So you basically go under the radar.
So you could have potentially tens of thousands of dollars worth of collectible coins, but you're seen as a collector, you're doing it as a hobby, whereas it's a sound investment.
Whereas if you had $50,000 worth of silver sitting in bars in your back garden in a hole, you are seen as hoarding.
Potentially, if you're found out, that is, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the other things is, if you are doing something along these lines, it's probably also a good idea not to be telling and sharing with everybody what you are doing or how much you're buying or what your coin value is worth, just to further protect yourself against, people getting desperate and coming and knocking on your door. So Hayley, do you keep leading on to that, do you keep your stuff overseas in a vault, or do you have it delivered to your house? How do you keep it safe, once you have it?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, I've been having this conversation and we kind of laugh with some friends. I think moving forward, I think we need to get very creative of where we keep it, because obviously we want to help people and we want to bring this to people's attention, but we all are also putting our necks on the line and going, look at us, look what we have. So, you know, I'm in a gold and silver group on Facebook, and I laughed last week. He was selling a 1 kilo bar of silver, and it was fresh dug out of the garden. It still had dirt on it. So you know, we have to ask ourselves, if we keep our gold and silver in the vaults, like, who are behind these vaults? Right? Because when all this was coming out, you know, there was some rumors about Perth Mint in 2020, and look, I'm still learning the ins and outs of this market and the lingo, and then it's a lot to learn. But I said to my friend, who I knew she'd gone heavy in her self-managed super fund, you know, I think it's like 8 years ago now. They'd gone heavy with gold and silver, and it was at Perth Mint. And I said, hun, do you have your gold and silver allocated or unallocated? She's like, it's unallocated. I'm like, well, I'm just hearing some rumors, you know, from Perth Mint that maybe you should get it allocated. Anyway, she rang up and the lady was lovely. She's like, no, all those rumors are false, and you know, everything's above board and everything is backed by the Australian government. And she just went, red flag, can I please switch all that to allocated? And you know, she got it all delivered to her. And you know, it is a risk having it in her house, but she's like, if they can get through our security systems, and you know, they're like, she's like, they can have it. They can have it if they can find it, and they can access it, they can have it. But you know, I've since had friends go down the path of self-managed super funds, and they are being directed, the friends that I've spoken to, that they have to keep it in a vault now, and they're not allowed to have it at home. So that doesn't sit right with me. You know, it is our money. You know, when we hand it over to the banks, what people don't realize is, like, we're just we're loaning it to the banks without asking them any questions about what they're going to do with our money. And you know, people are going and trying to get, you know, I had someone on my Facebook try to get $40,000 out recently to buy silver, actually, and he was very heavily questioned by the bank. And they said, you know, you can get that $40,000 out, but it does have to be approved by the bank manager.
It's your money. Yeah.
And it's your money.
But that really ties back to what's happening with property and title deeds. You know, we have gone into our properties and we have got a loan from the bank. And so they then hold the title deed. You've got yours?
Bank secrets revealed. If you don't have this book, I highly, highly recommend it.
Can you pop, are you able to pop a link in the chat, Hayley, for where to get it from or not?
Yeah, I can. The Know Your Rights group.
Yes.
Find it.
So essentially what's happening there is that, you know, the bank then was holding people's paper title deeds, but what we didn't realize and understand is they converted those title deeds over to a digital copy. And that digital copy is now managed by a private company, not the bank. So if you're wanting to get hold of your actual original title deed, I don't know if that's really possible. That's what Len Harris is trying to do at the moment, is to get that through and fight for our rights for people who don't understand what's been happening. So, you know, just because your money is in the bank doesn't mean that the bank's going to do the right thing. They're not going to get a third party to be able to manage it, which they still probably have their hand in that pocket with. But it's just like it's removed from them, so it's outside of their control. But so we need to kind of have a look at the bigger picture and sort of think about, keeping what we own and what we've earned and paid good money for within our own space. So so we've sort of covered that between, is there like a private vault and a foreign vault? Is there a difference if you were in a vault?
I know Cole is looking at actual vaults at the moment for our community and doing some back research on that. We do keep our, with 7K, we've got the Sound Money wallet and they've got private vaults. So we can transfer cash or we can transfer crypto into our Sound Money wallet. and we can go from our cash balance to gold or silver, and they will physically put that gold and silver aside for us in a private vault. But we can opt to get it sent to us if we wish to, which I have done. I'm like, do you even own it unless you have it in your hands? But understanding people that wanting to have bigger amounts, we're looking into other private vaults at the moment, but we've looked at 7K, and for us right now, that's the safest option for us.
So what you've just said then is, with their vault, it's not like the Perth Mint where you've got something and you need to say, oh, it needs to be allocated. This one, if they're putting it in the vault, you have purchased something that's already been made, and it's got your name and your barcode and everything, and it's been put in a spot and it's yours. No one touches it. It's reserved under your name, as opposed to what Hayley said with the Perth Mint, where you have to ring up and then you call them and they say, now it's going to cost you more, and actually we don't have enough silver and we can't print that for you. So it's an IOU.
It's an IOU, yeah. And so I like that with 7K, that they actually take the physical silver that you have in your Sound Money wallet and they allocate it to a separate vault for you.
And that vault is under huge security.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we even went to the lengths of asking the CEO, if we've got a lot of people in our community that want to make sure that there's systems in place if the internet goes down or power goes down. And I actually got a voice message from the CEO saying that they've got a plan in place, they've got all the inventory, and, it might be a little bit slower getting it to us, but they will get it to us. So, I found.
Okay. A good safe is a good investment. I agree, Rhonda.
Yes.
What's bail-in? Risk of bail-ins? Is that do you want to just talk about bail-ins, Stephen?
So my understanding of bail-in, so that was my comment. I'm scribing for Stephen and we're commenting as well. So with the bail-ins, if people recall what happened in 2008 with the GFC, the global financial crisis, it's where the government, etc., came in and bailed out the banks. Yes. Whereas now they've changed that regulation. So if the banks crash, that it will be classified as a bail-in. So if we have money tied up in investments or in the bank, investments or savings, etc., they can actually claim that. They'll take that and potentially give us an IOU saying, well, this is the money, we've taken it to keep our head afloat. And by the way, if you want money, potentially you'll only get about $300 a week. As an example. So that's the risk of a bail-in. And that's why a lot of people are getting very, very concerned about having money left in the bank, because they could snabble it. Yeah. And so similar with our superannuation. So, yeah.
Superannuation is an extreme concern for people, because we've been, we've got, if you've got money in super, like for me, I had an insurance payout after I had cancer, and so it had to go into my super account so that I could, have that when that was the rule, that was how it worked. And so there's money sitting there that I can't necessarily access until I reach that age, unless I then convert it to a self-managed super fund, which I'd like to do. And that's probably the next step to ensure that. But Stephen, do you want to talk a little bit about super funds or anything? Do you have anything to contribute? No?
I think you've covered it all, really. A lot of people are moving now towards self-managed super funds. They are looking at having control over their investments instead of having someone else do it for them. And a lot of them are now, with their portfolios, moving out of stocks, etc., and shares, and moving more into the precious metals and the property markets, where it's a lot more of a tangible asset that they can have and control.
Yeah. And there are, options for, I know that there's a guy who's helping people set up a trust, not with an ABN, but a trust that is not associated with an ABN, so that you can go into the bank and have a bank account with that in your name, and not fall under the regulations of corporations. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Spot on.
Yeah. So there is a link for, I'll find that link if people are interested, and it costs about $1,000 to set that trust up. And awesome. When I say that, I haven't done it yet. So I'm just telling you that information, not from a place of experience. So the vault is third-party audited through Lloyd's of London. So if you choose that option inside 7K, you know that it's got a separate party following separate rules, making sure that it's safe in that aspect. So sorry, you said over 250K. What was that, Hayley, in your comments?
Yes. So for the bail-ins, I think it's over, if you've got over $250,000, I believe, they will just take that from people. So businesses, mums and dads accounts, you know, hard-earned savings that people think that is safe in the banks is not safe. Like, I mean, I'm having conversations with people every day about gold and silver, you know, but even if you're not moving into gold and silver, work on ways to unbank yourself. And they're like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, my bank thinks I'm pretty broke. I have money, I have cash going in and cash going out for the things that I have to pay for fiat currency in, but then I have other ways to hold my cash. Like I've got crypto cards, or, you know, there's even a, I mean, I haven't looked into it, you know, how legitimate it is, but I use it now and then. Wise, where you can have a bank account in every single country. Like I can have a bank account in the US. Not that I want to have a bank account probably in the US right now, but I've used it for different things. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, I've only got my one bank card, or maybe one credit card. And I think that is a problem. You know, if the banks decide to, you know, I say to people, and I'm just very upfront with it, I'm like, if your bank shut down your account tomorrow, are you going to be okay? You know, and it's, you know, this is even outside of gold and silver. Have you set up a community that, you know, just, you know, food, supplies, water, you know, all that sort of stuff that, you know, if we don't have money to buy things, have we got a community of people that we've got each other's backs? You know, have we got gold and silver to barter with? Have we got services to barter with? You know, even, I mean, right now in the Northern Rivers, just having a four-wheel drive or a car is an asset. You know, the supply and demand on cars since COVID, and now all the cars that have been flooded. Like I've got a 2007 Outlander. You know, we have this conversation with my kids. They're like, Mum, you talk about gold and silver a lot, but we drive this 2007 Outlander. Like, do we have money or not? They're so confused. And I'm like, you know what, I'd really like a new car, but I'd just rather put my money into other things. You know, in the past, I'm like, you know, cars are a depreciating asset. And now I'm like, actually, the car's an appreciating asset. It's now an asset, because even my mechanic said you would get so much for that right now. So, you know, it's funny how things have shifted, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that the older cars, we are starting to appreciate the value of an older car that isn't run on a computer system, and doesn't have tracking devices inside of it. So that's a whole other conversation for another day. Yeah, so we're not even going to go there, but you know, we look like we're a car yard at the moment, and if you drive past my house, I've got a really old car sitting on the verge that we should sell, because it's costing us to keep it registered, but for some reason we haven't sold it, and I'm starting to look at it and think, oh well, it carries 8 people, maybe it's a good thing to just spend the money and get the back brakes fixed.
I think so. Yeah, it's now an asset.
It's now an asset, you know, and because I kept saying to my husband, you know, that get rid of that car. So I'm just wondering if anyone wants to put some chats into the chat box, if you're wanting to ask any questions, just so that we make sure that we've covered everything. I go on a bit of a tangent, and then, you know, Hayley says something, and then I'm like there and that. So I probably haven't stayed according to my plan of what I wanted to cover. So I'm going to go back. Do you think many people truly understand what is happening in Russia with currency and gold? I don't know, Rhonda. I don't. I think that and this is putting it out on the line, I don't think people truly understand, the Russia-Ukraine situation.
No.
And what it's actually really about.
And if people are listening to MSN, they think that they're the bad guys, and why would I even listen to them about going back to a gold standard? They're mean people, I guess. So anything that comes out of there, they're just gonna let go, I think.
Yeah, and if you've been listening to mainstream media for the last 2 years, and you can, or you haven't been listening to mainstream media for the last 2 years, and you can see the huge discrepancy between the narrative that they've been encouraging and giving discounts to media for not paying tax so that they can actually continue that narrative, you've got to kind of question that overnight COVID conversations absolutely stopped and it suddenly switched to the Russia-Ukraine thing. And if you have queries about what they did over the last 2 years, perhaps you need to have a few queries about what they are doing now and feeding into your conscious awareness. I've just scrolled back and I've seen Shari's question, and she said, so what do we do if we have some of those? So because it was a little bit back, Shari, do you want to take your mic off and just ask the question in person?
Yeah, that was when we were talking about the coins with the Queen's head on it. The Queen's,
yes.
And, we're talking about that they can be recalled. So if we actually have them, should we look at getting rid of them now and replacing them? And if so, how do we actually do that?
Do you want to answer that, Stephen, because you're up to scratch on the Queen's head stuff?
Yeah, sure. Look, myself personally, Rhonda and I have a lot of I won't say how much, but we have a lot of coins, etc., bullion with the Queen's head on it. Personally, we don't think we're that much of a threat for it to be, instantly recalled or anything like that. We are moving a lot of it and transitioning a lot to other coins and other bullion that it doesn't have it. So we've got an equal balance. But I'm not saying you should go out and just totally change it straight away. That I think they will be more inclined to chase down those that hold larger quantities of it. My own personal opinion. But like we should, with any sort of risk management, you've got to basically look at how much exposure you personally have in that one area and say, are there other mechanisms I can use to reduce that risk? If your whole portfolio was all Queen's head, you might say, right, well, I might transition over to some other type of coin or bullion that isn't.
So you could virtually, I guess, cash that in and then do something like what we've done and started to invest more in regards to the 7K collectible coins. That's what we've done. And, if anyone's interested in learning more about that, then, I guess go back to the person who's invited you here, whether it was, Taryn or whoever else, and they'll be able to help to steer you and give you that knowledge. Because for us, it was a real learning curve. It was a steep learning curve in regards to really understanding, what's going on in the world right now. It's probably one of the better things that have come out in regards to COVID, because it's a really good way to be able to find like-minded people. Really, people who are open and who are critical thinkers and really just want to, set up their family and reduce the risk, really, of the unknown. So, and that's one of the things I really love about 7K is the education, because I'm all about education and support, and we get a lot of people that are coming to us and saying, well, what are you doing? Is there someone that you can refer us to? And nothing against the guys, but us girls, we always connect, and we're always saying, it's a bit like our hairdresser, oh yes, absolutely, go to this hairdresser, or this, I love this butcher, or this health food store, or that's what we do, so I would look at the 7K collectibles, because it's under the radar, and I love that.
And particularly with 7K, the ability to with the smart money wallet, is to transition your currency, your cash, into silver and gold, and have that delivered to your door under the radar, without the Queen's head on it. So all the you can jump in any time, Hayley, but all the coins that come from 7K are usually either silver or gold eagles.
Yep.
That they send through to you. There's one.
Hayley's
got
holding
one,
it up.
got one there.
You want to just talk, Hayley, so it spotlights you?
Yeah, so can you see that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they'll send you. And this is what I love about 7K and the Sound Money wallet is while you know, stocks are getting quite scarce in other places, 7K have had the foresight, you know, to see this coming, and they're well stocked in gold and silver eagles, and we have access to that via the Sound Money wallet. Also, I've got a lot of people in my network that go, okay, so if we're buying gold and silver for doomsday prepping, if I can say that, you know, if we go back to needing to barter with it for, you know, go buying our groceries and things like that, well, what if it doesn't get to that point? Like, can I transact with people with gold and silver now? And it actually took a moment for the penny to drop with this. With the Sound Money wallet, as members, we can actually transact with each other for free. So outside the banking system, I can send money to my friends in 7K in the US. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever tried to do an international transfer. It's not easy and it's not cheap. I could send my friend Mike, if I owed him $500 for something, I could send him $500 worth of silver, and then he could go, I want to have that silver, you know, delivered to my door. And they would send him out, however many ounces $500 buys you, and they would send them out to be delivered, and he'd have it in his hands. So there's so many ways that we can do that, and I love that. I think as we build this community with 7K, you know, we've built ourselves another way to transact with each other. I talk about Cole with this. You know, imagine getting businesses on board and, you know, starting to support each other's businesses, people who are like-minded, and starting to transact with gold and silver outside the banking system. And yeah, I don't know, I think there's so many possibilities with that alone. It's very exciting.
So Hayley, when I came on board with 7K, there was different options, and I think what appealed to me is that I haven't delved deeply into it. I sort of started the certification and have kind of stalled a bit in doing all the learning, because in true shiny object syndrome, I've sort of like, yeah, move on to something else. But what happens is that I signed up and I did an auto ship option, which means that every single month, whether I remember or not, and I'm so glad because I did not remember, every single month I have a FedEx delivery in my come to my doorstep, and I've got a coin inside of there. And within that is, that's Hayley showing you what the coins arrive in, look like. And so each month you can choose a different level of investment. What's that one?
These are the gold notes. I'm heavily collecting these at the moment because
okay, now I don't understand those.
Yeah.
So I saw that, I didn't understand it, I didn't get it. So I thought, well, and so then you don't jump in and do. So what does that mean? Like, you're showing me that, and now I'm thinking, I've got FOMO. I'm thinking, shit, I should have paid attention. Maybe I should have read that.
I'm even using them as my bookmarks. So I've got them everywhere. Now that I'm about to have 4 children, I'm collecting 4 sets. And so this, you know, quick little story behind this, Tom Holdman, who's designed these not coins, I'm used to saying coins, but these notes, you know, this one's got love, this one's got freedom. There's a unity one.
Is this a sheet of real gold?
It is. It's 1/200 ounce of 0.999 gold. So yeah, they've only 10,000 minted. And this is, you know, this is getting into the collectible side, what's been spoken about in the community since he released these. And there's only 10,000 minted of each. There's now talks that 7K are going to be doing more projects moving forward with Tom Holdman, who's created these notes. And so in the collector space, once you get in and kind of get your head around it, they said generally the first release of something as 7K grows, as the collector space grows, people are going to go back and they're going to go, oh, I love these future coins that he's created. I want to go back and get the first one. And, we can't guarantee that they're going to be worth more, with compliance and everything like that. But, people are already saying they could be worth 4 times what you pay for it today.
Stephen, you had an experience then where you bought a coin and you put it up in our chat group and it had gone up by a certain amount as well.
So this one here, I don't see, can you see that one clearly?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a US state animal. So that's the Texas Longhorn. And I'll just bring up on Stack and Sell, which is a program that we use. So I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what it says is that we purchased it, we paid 139 US for it. And that was a month ago. It's now valued at 315 US.
Oh, wow.
Now that's a pretty good improvement and investment in less than 4 weeks.
Did you go out and purchase that, or was that part of your auto ship?
No, that was part of our auto ship.
Maybe I've got that coin.
So with Stack and Sell, you can use it to. It's a web-based program which you can keep all your inventory on there, and you can actually see how much your investment is improving at any given time. And soon to be able to, I know they're working on it now, where we'll actually be able to trade from here in Australia those coins to other members around the world, and they're working on that right now for us. So, but it's a wonderful tool that I use so that, we've got a little coin that came through, and it's just 1 ounce of silver, and it's worth $315 US at the moment. And the more collectible and the more demand, the more the price goes up. There was another story on one of the many chat groups and Facebook groups that we've got going, where one gentleman had an entire collection of, I think it was Hayley, the Roman
Yes.
Leaders, Caesars or whatever it was.
The Roman series, yeah.
Yeah. And he had the entire collection, and he was selling that collection for over 9,000 US, which works out to about 750 US per coin.
So he actually has 2 sets of those. He was actually smart enough to get 2 sets, because I was like, I wouldn't be selling mine, but he was smart enough to buy 2 sets. So he's selling 1 set. And yeah, I worked out over the 12 or even under 12 months, that's a 5,000 USD profit. So I actually have the first Caesar coin. There's only 500 minted of those. And it was my first coin drop. I had no idea what I was doing. I just needed to have the coin. And yeah, for that 1 coin, I can sell it if I want to for 750 plus now. And I paid $349 for it. But that was a really quick turnaround. That shot up really quick after I bought it.
So now we're talking about coin drops. So sorry, Stephen, you answer that, but then I want to ask afterwards what a coin drop is.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of people are saying, like gold and silver is a long-term investment, but you can actually, it is, because over time, gold and silver has always matured over time and gained strength through all the world economic problems, etc. But if you wanted to look at short-term trading, like spot trading, with your 7K coins that are NGC accredited and certified, you've got the ability to make good money in a very short time, just like you would by trading, in the crypto market or whatever. So you can do a similar thing with your collectible coins.
Do you want to answer the question then what a coin drop is?
Oh, okay. So 7K as part of your membership, they'll go out and source first issue collectible coins at the MS 70 quality, and they will make it available for exclusive for 7K members to get it before it goes to the market. So you're the front runner of getting hold of these coins before anybody else.
And when you're talking about going to market, what you're referring to is that there are plenty of people within the space who are collectors of things. And there are people out there who like to collect coins. So when you're part of 7K, you'll be getting options to purchase that coin before it becomes an option for the rest of the world to get that coin. So you can get an early, you know what they talk about, the early adopters. You can get an early, so you've got the potential to then sell it to that other market who don't do collecting. So yeah. So from what people have learnt today, they understand that you know, leaving their fiat currency in the bank carries risk. They understand that they need to start expanding their options for what they do, so they don't leave it in the bank. You can have it as one option where you're just getting your fiat currency out and just getting a silver coin in your hands. So you want to go and do some of those coins. If you just don't know what else to do one of the coins that Hayley was showing you. But then if you're wanting to use the other option, the 7K option is a system where you are purchasing an education as well, where you are purchasing information that provides you with how to think and what to do next to protect yourself. So that is sort of a form of easy to watch videos, but within that you then also have the ability to auto ship this. So it's a set and forget. So, you know, one month I'm like, oh my goodness, I've never got money in my Visa card anymore because I haven't remembered that I've added in this auto ship option that's coming up all the time. Sorry, I don't know how to stop that that chat coming in. It's a new chat that is just driving me insane. So, okay, I don't know why that's going bananas. So, is that kind of covering things there, Hayley?
Yeah, and I think, you know, 7K have designed this for the beginner in mind, you know, from the beginner to the expert, really. But, you know, even the auto saver, you know, they've put it in there so people can be transitioning their currency regularly on autopilot, because, you know, people do have good intentions to go buy gold and silver regularly, and they don't, because life gets in the way, you know, people get busy. So, you know, it's just, they're like-minded, and they understand the banking system and the government. And I say to people all the time when they say, oh, I don't know how to do this, I feel silly. I'm like, well, great. We've got a whole community of people that are just learning together. We're all at different levels. We're having a bit of fun with it. And, you know, the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask, like, you know, and it is very much ripping that band-aid off. Once you do it, it's empowering. And I really want to encourage people to reverse engineer it, even go out and buy some gold and silver and then sell it back. We actually sold our first lot recently. And, you know, my husband had been rained off work, and, you know, with all the floods and everything here, and he goes, oh, maybe we should test just liquidating some of this and just have a bit of extra cash there for bills that were going out, you know, because the bank thinks that we're poor, and, you know, this is now our banking, you know, our banking system is very different. And yeah, my husband, he took the kids in, or two of the kids in, and they're like, oh, Dad, what do you think you're going to get for that? Are you going to get maybe like $200? And it was an ounce of gold and a kilo of silver. And when they, you know, see the $100 bills just coming out, they're like, oh, wow. Like, because it, you know, it's small. It doesn't look like that they're going to get that much. And, you know, we're homeschooling. So I'm like, well, that's homeschooling lesson done for the day. But even for my husband, he goes, that was actually so empowering to do that. The lady actually said to me, like, she goes, so where do you have it? Because he's like, I want to, you know, sell some back. She's like, where do you have it? And he put it in there, and she goes, she didn't even look at it. She didn't even inspect it or anything. She just didn't ask for my ID. She said, do you want cash? Do you want it to go into your bank account? Do you want it attached to like your ABN or something like that? There was a few questions, and she's like, cash, thanks. But he walked out going, wow, that was actually a really, really good experience. So if I can encourage people to, even if it's a small amount, go out and buy some and try and sell it, and just, you know, learn new ways to manage your money.
So can I ask, excuse my ignorance, how would you sell it, and where do you sell it, and where did he go?
So for us, we go to Gold Bullion Australia in Miami on the Gold Coast. So they've got a you can walk in there. They've got vaults and you can go and buy and everything. So, you know, that's where we first started our journey in 2020. But then, you know, we realized when the border went up, when the border shut down, you know, I was lucky that I had 7K in my life because I was able to automate and make it very simple for me to get my gold and silver deliveries because we really couldn't go across the border. And, you know, even a friend of mine in Perth said, you know, you have to have certain medical procedures right now to go into Perth Mint, you know, and so I know a lot of people in my community, that's not going to be them. So we need to look at other, you know, other ways to, yeah, buy our silver. But there's lots of places around that you can go in. I think there's places in Brisbane. So you just got to find somewhere local in your area. It's like a bank, but it's for gold and silver.
So here we don't have one of a gold shop in Townsville. So going to cash converters, would that work?
Well, I'd go and I'll go see what they say, but they tend to try and rip you off there.
Yeah, your buyback price might not be that competitive to what else is out there in the market.
But it is doable.
It is doable. Yeah, because obviously they're going to try and make more money and on sell, etc. They don't specialise in bullion transaction.
There's a question.
I think this is also, yeah.
No, you go.
I think that's also important about community too, because there's so many. If I actually wanted to sell, and I thought about this afterwards, you know, after doing that, I would probably just ask someone in my community if they wanted to buy gold and silver moving forward. So rather than going to through the normal ways. And yeah, so many of my community want to buy gold and silver. So I'd probably just offer to them first, I think, and keep it within our circle.
Is there any advice that you could give as to the denominations of gold and silver, a mix of large and small for bartering potentially?
Yeah, so I mean, I've got to get some smaller denominations. I know, what have I got? I've got the chat up. I got these delivered recently. I actually won these. I actually won them, the smaller denominations, but yeah, you can buy.
Is that through 7K or is that somewhere else?
No, somewhere else. But you know, we've mainly, like I got these through 7K dealer direct. You know, the what are they? Are they the Buffalo ones?
Yeah, Buffalo.
Do you want to just touch on the dealer direct, because some people may not really understand what that means?
Yeah, so we've got in our membership, we've got access to dealer direct pricing of bullion. I mean, getting bullion into Australia, I would just recommend to people to buy locally if they do want to buy bullion. But dealer direct, we've got access, you know, 7K buying bulk basically, and they offer their members the best price. So we get dealer direct pricing through there. You do have to be quick. When I first started, there was a lot more available. And yeah, I've got heaps of these sorts of things, but this is what's important with the Sound Money wallet. You know, even though the dealer direct, like I keep saying to people don't understand the power of the Sound Money wallet. You know, we have to be fast at the moment. Once they put things on dealer direct, we kind of got to buy it fast. But you know, we've got access to the Sound Money wallet where I know that they're well stocked. But you know, the tip that I have been told is you just buy well-recognized coins. So, you know, you're buying the Buffaloes, you're buying the Cougarans, for example. What else have I got? Oh, people love this one. Everyone keeps I've got two of them. I think you got these, Rhonda, didn't you? Everyone keeps wanting to buy the Trump coins. We were so lucky to get these.
And the value of those Donald Trump coins just went boomba. Amazing. Yeah, the Bitcoin, we got those.
So I got a Bitcoin, Hayley, you actually posted mine to me. Do I need to buy like a little plastic case to put it in?
I think they're good to have. Yeah, it protects them. So
where do you get those little plastic cases from?
I think hubby bought a whole heap of them and I got, I think he just got them on eBay.
Okay.
I just bought I think it's a quantity of 200 on eBay, It took a week to get delivered to your door, and they've got actually the ones I've got like plastic rings or foam rings inside, so you can adjust the whole different size coins in the one holder, and you get like 200 in a pack, and it costs like $12 delivered.
Okay. Super.
Super cheap.
So for anyone in Townsville that's on the live chat, Steve is actually going to be, and Rhonda are coming up to Townsville this week. And so they're actually going to be at my place on Friday night. So if you have more questions or you're curious and you want to know more, send me a message and we'll get you on the list. You know, at this rate, you know, even if we have to give you a cushion to sit on the floor so that we can fit you into the room, we're going to make that happen, because it's always nice to be around people who are thinking a little bit more like you and are giving you the confidence to take those next steps forward, because this is very new space for some people. And certainly when you're stepping into a new space, you want to have someone holding your hand through that journey and knowing what step to take next, because you know, the way we do this is really important. You're wanting to do it where the government's not going to have access to your information. You're doing it in an amount where it's not being tracked and traced. You want to do it in a way where no one's going to come and take it away off you. You want to do it in a way where you can get it at the best price. You want to do it in a way where you know that if you wanted to on-sell it, you're going to get a better amount of money for it. And so you want to know that it's pure. You want to know that it's had third-party verification. So all of these little aspects, you know, it's as simple as saying, yes, get your fiat currency out, try get it into something else. But then when you want to get into something else, there are all these little things that if you're starting up at the beginning, you don't know those answers, or you don't know what you don't know. Hayley's been doing this for a long time. She has identified, you know, those questions to ask. Stephen's been doing this. And so, you know, we're bringing those people into our community so that we can keep you all safe and protected. So just checking. Rhonda, yes, Petra, is this? Oh, yeah, this is discussing. I'm looking at the conversation there in the chat. So if there's no more questions, we've actually gone a little bit over time. Hayley, you've been incredibly generous with your time, and you haven't just left the meeting because I said, oh, you know, about an hour. But we've covered so many things. I know that there's so much more to cover. I feel that we've all left the space, including me, knowing a little bit more, having a little bit more insight, and creating awareness of ways and solutions, because the last 2 years, we've had a lot of things coming in as problems. And when we have a problem coming in, we drop our vibration, and we really start to feel really a little bit in fear, scared. And when we get a solution and we get a pathway forward and what steps to take to make us feel better, we start to raise our vibration. And we all know that we are magnets and we are energetic beings. And the way we are feeling is what we're putting out, and what we're putting out is what we're bringing in. So if we can raise our vibration to a way where we are empowered with information, and we are empowered with the right kind of information to keep us safe, we can raise our vibration and start bringing more prosperity and more abundance into our field, because we really are worthy and deserving of all this. And we're wanting to cut up those old contracts that bind us to poverty. We have made mistakes in the past because we didn't know any better, but we're being presented with information right here and right now so that we do know better, and we do have a way of moving forward in a protected space. When we start becoming financially literate, we start doing the things that other people have always done in the past. Those are, you know, rich people have always known this information. They've done it in the past. This is now available to you. It's how you step forward. Not all of us are going to have a spare bit of cash to be able to do this with. But what we are saying is just start small. You don't have to join something. If you need to take one small step today, you're going to write it down. You're saying, I'm going to convert some of my fiat currency, one bit of fiat currency, into one silver coin. And then you will know that you've stepped forward and said, yes, I'm going to do something different. Anything to add there, Hayley or Steve?
I think you just summed that up wonderfully.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Spot on.
And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for your time. I would just add that for those who, you know, for example, can't get to Townsville this Friday night coming, we do have a fantastic Facebook support group, which, you know, we're more than happy to add you into. And that is just a wealth of information. There's videos, there's, you know, obviously experts who are financial advisors, because none of us are financial advisors. We're all small business owners ourselves. But yeah, there's just so much information. So if that's something that you're open to and interested in, then yeah, please let us know, and we can steer you in the right direction.
So is that Facebook group, I put it, if you scroll right back into the very beginning of the chat, Hayley, is that the Facebook?
I actually don't think the link posted, so I wasn't sure if it was your group or the.
This was the I'll post it again and see if it goes in. This is. Has everyone received that link in their chat now?
I can see it now. Yeah.
You can. Is that your Facebook group, Hayley? And is this the one Rhonda's speaking about, or is there another Facebook group that we're going to direct people to?
I think it's taking a little bit for me to load. I think that might be wealth. No, that's for once you become a member, we pop people into that group. I've just lost my screen. I'll pop it.
Okay, so that
we've got Sound Money Secrets. We've got nearly 2,000 members in there now, and my Facebook's taking.
So if anyone who's interested in adding, oh, there we go. Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you. Mine's been slow with being on Zoom.
And I'm just going to make sure that I'm actually in that group as well. Yeah, I am. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. You start to worry that I've dropped the ball somewhere. Look, if you are wanting to know more about Sound Money, and you wanted to know about you know, the 7K program and learn a little bit more, please send me a message or pop a 1 in the chat, and my VA Christine will get your details and we'll get back to you. We do have our live in person on Friday, which really means that if you're wanting a little bit more touch points, which is really important when you're making these big steps, to have those touch points, to have that face-to-face, sometimes human connection makes us feel safe and we're willing to take the next step forward. Please let me know, and I'll give you my address for Friday night. And yes, so after that, thank you, Petra. There is a heap of abundance of knowledge. Can you believe it? You know, in the space of the last couple of weeks, the energy has really just zapped up and zooped up and proceeded forward. And all of a sudden, all the stuff is coming in and we're just going. My sacred word for this year was opportunity. And so I've stepped out of my space where I was not talking about this stuff really in a way that was solution based for people. I'm giving them the solutions now. I'm standing up and saying, yes, I'm going to take this step with courage and trust and faith, knowing full well that the rewards will be plenty. So with that, it is 12:22. I've got 222 there. It's a 2022 year. We're bringing in that vibration of the 2s, which are holding us accountable and responsible for the thoughts that we are choosing to think. So if you're thinking in this time and space, fear, you're going to get that back to you. I'm saying to you, take personal responsibility for where your thoughts are going today. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And I'm looking forward to hearing back from all of you with the next exciting step in this process. Thanks once again to Hayley and Rhonda and Steve. Thank you very much for supporting me and my community. Love you all, and goodbye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.